Okay, so in this video I want to share a couple of quick tips for using Desmos in your Piecewise Art project. Number one, when you go to desmos.com or to the app, you're going to start graphing and you want to make sure that you sign in first before you do any work. You don't want to lose your work. So if you're not already signed in, it'll have a little sign in link here. If you are, it'll show your name up here. Once you start putting in equations, you can click save. Name it something that you'll remember it as, but also you can click on this 3-bar menu here and all your saved graphs will be on this little sidebar here. So the first thing I want to talk about is, after that, is domain. So when you're trying to restrict your domains for your pieces, you want to use little squiggly braces. That's how Desmos understands restricting your ranges. So let's say I wanted to do a little smiley face. I might do a simple linear equation and a quadratic. Let's maybe add some transformations to that. And I want to maybe make this my mouth right here, this part right here. So I want to cut off both of these right here at these 2 points. Okay, so if you tap on those 2 points, then you can go ahead and find that part where you want to cut off your domain. Okay, you don't have to do any guessing. It's right there. It's so easy. So I'm looking at negative 1.3 to positive 2.3. So in both of my functions, squiggly brace, negative 1.3, 1 decimal is all you need. Less than x, less than, what do we say, 2.3. Okay, so that cuts off my linear function. So then I want to go to my quadratic function. You can even copy and paste. Okay, so we've got kind of a smiley face here. Make sure you're just restricting your x's, unless the only exception to that is if you are graphing vertical lines. So if you're doing x equals, let's say we want some i's. Let's say I want to do x equals -1. Then I can't restrict my domain. The domain is only -1. If I restrict it anymore, I won't have a line on there. So we want to restrict our range. Okay, we do it the same way. We just replace our x with our y. So let's say I want to go up to, let's see, 3 to 5 maybe. So let's go 3 less than y less than 5. Okay, so we've got our one eyeball. Let's copy this whole thing down here. And I'll just make that positive. We want to do x equals positive y. So now we've got our smiley face. Again, only restrict your range for x equals functions, vertical lines. Okay, and remember, any functions that aren't in vertex form or aren't one of our 12 or 13 family functions that we talked about in class don't count towards your total numbers. Okay, you're welcome to use them. You're welcome to throw in circles or crazy composition functions, conic sections, anything we haven't studied yet, for just to throw in some extra or to create some shapes and curves that R12 don't match, but they won't count towards your the requirements on your rubric, namely the at least 10 equations used, the 8 different toolkit functions used. Okay, so let's see what else. One more thing. 2 more things. Make sure it's in vertex form. If I wanted to do some kind of a line that has, and I need to do a whole lot of transformations with it, make sure you stick to our vertex form that we talked about in class. So let's say I want to do maybe a sine function. Okay, so make sure that you only have one value that's a vertical stretch. Again, at most, one value that is a horizontal stretch, one value that is a horizontal shift, and one value that is a vertical shift. Okay, so don't have multiple shifts or stretches in the same direction. Make sure that I can read your equation and I can pick out those transformations right from it. Last thing is, when you have a whole bunch of equations, you want to organize them. You can pick 1 or 2 ways to organize them. You can either put them into folders according to the family of function that it is, or according to, you can group them for different pieces of your picture. Okay, so here's an example of one that is grouped in folders according to pieces on the picture. Okay, so I didn't create this, but one of my former students made this. Put both the eyes equations in here. We can click it on and off and see that those are the eyes, the equations that form the beak, the body, and so on. Okay, so that's a nice, neat way to organize them by pieces, and that will count for your project for your identifying part if you do it like that. Okay, or you can organize them according to the type of function it is. Okay, so this person organize them according to linear, quadratic, cubic, and so on by the type of function. Okay, and again, you can turn those on and off and see all the different types of functions that were created. Okay, so tips for using Desmos effectively for your piecewise project. Go get them, make it good, be creative.